Hello, I'm Tim and I have too many books. There are lots of places in books that are fictionalised versions of real places. In this video I've picked a selection of real places that have been fictionalised. There are plenty to choose from, so I've chosen ones that appear in more than one book, which gives me a slightly more manageable number. I've split them into places which are definitely confirmed and other places which are supposed or there's a little bit of doubt about them. This video is a bit of an experiment because I'm using Google Earth to show you round the world. Now, bit of a trigger warning, Google Earth and me know that the world is round, so if you believe the world is flat, you may be triggered by this. You may also be very, very wrong. Yes. Watch to the end and you'll see where Gotham City and Metropolis are. We start with the man who took making fictional places out of real ones to an extreme. Thomas Hardy used the ancient Anglo-Saxon kingdom of Wessex as a model and created a detailed landscape for his novels. He split his Wessex into a number of subdivisions, lower, mid, north, outer, south and upper, which reflected the real English counties of Devon, Wiltshire, Berkshire, Somerset, Dorset and Hampshire respectively. I've centred the map on Casterbridge, which was Hardy's version of Dorchester, the county town of Dorset. This is the location of the mayor of Casterbridge and is mentioned in other novels. Of course, Thomas Hardy renamed a very large number of places. I seem to recall that London exists in his novels, but that is outside Wessex, and he appears to have renamed everywhere inside Wessex. We move on to Barchester, which features in Anthony Trollope's 6 Barsetshire novels, and is mentioned by him in others such as the Palliser novel sequence. Barchester was based on the Hampshire city of Winchester, but oddly Trollope modelled Barsetshire on the county of Somerset. Rye is one of the ancient Cinque-Ports and was an inspiration for F Benson's Tilling. This is a major location of his Map and Lucia novels. F Benson moved to Rye in 1918 and lived in Lamb House, which was the former home of the novelist Henry James. F. Benson gave Rye the name Tilling because of the river Tillingham, which is one of the rivers that flows through Rye. Elizabeth Gaskell grew up in the small Cheshire town of Knutsford and used it as a model for a novel and a number of short stories based in her fictional town of Cranford. Another birthplace that serves as an inspiration for a fictional place is Juniper Hill in Oxfordshire. Flora Thompson was born here in 1876 and it became Lark Rise in her Lark Rise to Candleford trilogy of novels. The larger settlement of Candleford Green in the novels is in reality the nearby village of Fringford. The novelist Miss Reed is possibly better known for her books about Fairacre, but she never firmly identified where she got the inspiration for that place. However, another novel sequence about Thrush Green has a more definite location. It is in the village of Wood Green, which these days has greatly changed and has developed into a suburb of the nearby town of Witney, known as Lunning in the novels. While Wood Green and Witney look very close on the map, Wood Green is on a hill or high ground looking down at Witney in the valley. I always associated the name Arthur Quiller-Couch with being a literary figure rather than a novelist. He's known for his editions of Shakespeare and various other literary pursuits and his rivalry with F.R. Leavis. But he did write a series of novels based on his hometown. It looks as if it's spelt Foy, but it is in fact pronounced Foy, which is why he gave his fictional town the name Troy. Arnold Bennett based a number of his novels on what he called the 5 towns. These are located in the potteries in and around the town of Stoke-on-Trent. The thing is that there are in fact 6 towns that go to make up the sort of metropolitan area of Stoke-on-Trent, but Arnold Bennett felt that 5 towns sounds better than 6, so he left out the town of Fentham. The real-life Burslem, Hanley, Longton, Stoke-on-Trent and Tunstall become Bennett's Bursley, Hanbridge, Longshore, Knype and Turnhill. Moving over to France now, we come to Illiers, or as it's now known, Illiers-Combray. This is because in 1971 they wished to commemorate their most famous son, Marcel Proust, the writer of À la recherche de temps perdu, or The Remembrance of Things Past. So they renamed themselves Il est Combray because Combray is the name that Proust uses in his book sequence for his hometown. We move deeper into France to Clochemerle, which is the name that Gabriel Chevallier gave to Vaux-en-Beaujolais. I wasn't expecting to do Clochemerle. I had heard of it because of a BBC television series, but it was mentioned as a fictional place, and I thought I'd include it here. They are rather proud of Gabriel Chevallier in Vaux-en-Beaujolais, and there is in fact a street named after him. And I believe there is actually a tourist information stand at the location where, in the first novel, they planned to build a pissoir. Flying down to Sicily, we come to Porto Empedocle, which is fictionalized as the town of Vigàta in Andrea Camilleri's Commissario Montalbano novels. Quite a lot of long-running detective novels are based in a certain place, but often either they are a real place or they are a heavily fictionalized place which is not a specific location. But Camilleri has pretty much confirmed the location of his Vigàta, and indeed, you may notice on the map, there is a lighthouse named after Commissario Montalbano. Since 1999, the Italian television station Rai has produced a television series based on the novels, where Montalbano is played by Luca Zingaretti, and it's a highly recommended series. Finally, for the confirmed places, we fly over to Mississippi, to Lafayette County, which in William Faulkner's novels is named Yoknapatawpha County. And Lafayette County's county seat of Oxford is renamed by Faulkner as Jefferson. We fly back over the Atlantic to the first of a small list of places where the real places that the fictional places are based on are more suggested than confirmed. And the first of these is St Mary Mead, which is the village where Agatha Christie places her detective Miss Marple. I've placed St Mary Mead in the village of Netherwallop. This was used by the BBC as the location for their late 80s, early 90s Miss Marple television series. It's not a bad choice. Two other locations mentioned in the Marple novels are Market Basing, believed to be based on Basingstoke, and Danemouth, believed to be based on Bournemouth, and Netherwallop lies between those two places, so it's a pretty good location for St Mary Mead, but it isn't confirmed. When Ken Follett created his Kingsbridge trilogy of novels, he thought in terms of Kingsbridge being the town of Marlborough, but his cathedrals that he describes more resemble the cathedrals at Salisbury or Wells. In fact, Wells is the cathedral that they used in the Pillars of the Earth television series. I'm not certain that Midhurst in West Sussex is particularly keen on being Ruth Rendell's Kingsmarkham, the home of her detective, Inspector Wexford. Ruth Rendell says of Kingsmarkham that it's not romantic at all, with ugly modern buildings, huge supermarkets, open car lots and bus garages, a sprawling box of local authority housing with a police station, a concrete box of tricks amid quiet, crowded houses of the high street. I'm not sure it's exactly complimentary to Midhurst. We fly up to North Yorkshire. Alf White was a vet and had a veterinary practice in Thirsk, and he fictionalised his experiences based in a town called Darrowby. But Darrowby is a composite of Thirsk, Richmond, Leyburn and Middleham. David Lodge's campus trilogy of novels, Changing Places, Small World and Nice Work, are based in a city called Rummidge. This is usually identified as Birmingham, whose original name is Brummagem. Although it does seem to be pretty much there, I'm putting it in the suggested because David Lodge said of it. Perhaps I should explain for the benefit of readers who have not been here before. Rummidge is an imaginary city with imaginary universities and imaginary factories inhabited by imaginary people, which occupies, for purposes of fiction, the space where Birmingham is found upon the maps. We fly across the Atlantic to Prince Edward Island and look for Avonlea, the location of Lucy Maud Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables novels. Lucy Maud Montgomery was born in New London but people have seen Avonlea in places like Cavendish, New Glasgow, Hunter River and Park Corner, as well as New London. Heading down to Maine in the United States, we come to Durham, which is the place where Stephen King grew up. It is believed that he used it as a basis of Jerusalem in Salem's Lot, and especially as Castle Rock in a series of novels that starts with The Dead Zone. Moving on from Castle Rock, we fly down to Delaware Bay, where we get Metropolis and Gotham City. While both these places are pretty much based on big conurbations like New York, in The Amazing World of DC Comics number 14 in March 1977, the writer Mark Grunwald and the artist Dick Dillon discuss the history of the Justice League and show in a fairly detailed map in a comic strip the locations of Metropolis and Gotham City. Metropolis here is pretty much the same location as Delaware's state capital of Dover, and Gotham exists near a place called Bridgeton, not to be confused with Bridgerton. In 2016, Bridgeton held a Gotham Week to celebrate their possible links with Gotham City. I hope you enjoyed that trip through fictional places based on real ones. There obviously are going to be plenty of them, so please comment in the description to tell me more, especially where book series are concerned. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.